All right, good afternoon, Mr. Commissioner.
Good afternoon.
Commissioner Ross, thanks for allowing me to come down here. Especially me, this is a humbling experience. I am the president one day at a time, but actually being incarcerated over 6 times, it actually gives me pleasure to thank you for allowing me to come down here and interview you today. I really wanted to reach out and interview you and just talk about more about the state of the emergency for the black community.
Right.
How do you feel about the black community when it comes to black on black crime? I'm not making this a black or a white thing. I'm making it our thing so we can learn how to link up with other races and help other people. But what do you think about the state of emergency about us?
Well, first of all, I'm glad you qualified that because there are people, you know, in our community who would hear black on black and instantly get offended by that, you know, label. And so once you push that aside and you just have an overall concern about young black men or men of color who are basically taking each other's lives. I know there's an argument that, you know, white people within certain spaces do the same thing. So that's not my argument. My argument is about what you're talking about.
Exactly.
How do we save some of these young men of color who either don't value their own lives or don't value lives of others? And so it's very concerning to me, not in this, just in this city, but in cities like Baltimore, Chicago, and all over this country, where you see this carnage each and every day. We had 41 homicides in August. The last time we had 41 homicides in August was probably 20-something years ago. In 2017, in August, we had 18.
Okay.
Never a good number, but a significant increase.
Uprise,
And so when you ask about the status, I'm very worried about it. I'm worried about it because I see day in and day out young men of color dying in our streets. You know. Now, to me, there's no denying all the historical things that accompany that. You know, and what slavery, what discrimination, what racism, you know, what all those things do. And so if anybody thinks people in the police department don't acknowledge, recognize that, they're crazy. We know that. However, you do get to a point where you're like, okay, so how do we continue to move the needle to get off that, right? I mean, so we can stay mired in that, you know, argument forever. It's not that it's not real, because it is very real. But how do we move the needle? And so for me, one of the biggest things that I think we deal with, you know it from being, you know, in this city, a lot of people, even who live here, don't realize Philadelphia is the poorest big city in the country of the top 10 cities. Of the top 10 cities, you know, and got more people living in deep poverty than any other large city in the country. One of the biggest drivers to me is poverty. We gotta do something with this poverty needle. Of course, we gotta do something with racism, discrimination, and all those things. But we gotta do something to give people hope. To give people the notion that your life is worth value. You know, one of the things that struck me, if you remember, at the height of this police community relations problem, President Obama was talking about that conversation that every family has with their black male about police relations. Well, that same conversation needs to take place about us, meaning we need to sit down with our sons in particular, but even our daughters, and say, you know, your life has significant value. But guess what? So does this brother over here.
That's it.
And I know there are guys out there who want to get out of the life. There's a very small percentage who just, they celebrate that life, but I think most want to get out of it.
Do you think some people feel like they just don't have hope? I'm talking about the gentleman we're probably both talking about right now that was born and raised without the mother and the father in the home. How do you think we can install hope for those type of individuals?
So, first of all, in answer to your question, I think there are absolutely people out there without hope. And I think we all have an obligation to surround these young people, you know, men or women. And again, like I said before, to tell them your life has significant value. You know, we cannot afford anymore to have all this talent, all this future, you know, go to jail or to the graveyard. We can do better than that. And it breaks my heart when I know how talented some of these young men are and some of the things that they could do or could be doing. You've seen it. You know, many just need an opportunity. Some are exposed to things that many cannot begin to comprehend. I say this to police academy classes, that, you know, by the grace of God, you know, some folks have dealt with things that you can't even imagine. And so try to understand, don't judge. You know, but try to uplift as well, right? And so this is why in the police department, we've gotten involved in a lot of programs. You know, I'm actually, some people don't know this, I'm the national spokesperson for a program called Bigs in Blue.
Right.
It's where big brothers and big sisters are partnering with the police department, and they have mentors in the school.
Okay.
Because we recognize that we got to operate outside of the boundaries of what is traditionally law enforcement.
Okay.
We can get out here and talk that talk all day about what is a problem in our society, but if you look in the mirror and you can't honestly say that you personally are doing something to help it,
Okay.
then you got to question where your commitment really
Wow.
is.
Wow. Whether you got the badge on or not, this is all
Regardless
about
of what you
problem.
about. If you really care about this city and the people that live in it, and whether it be, you know, you're an employer, whether it be you're a mentor, whether it be you're someone
Right.
who just adds some kind of value to the lives of young men in particular across the city, then we got to really set back and question our motives and what we really about.
Why do you think it's important to partner? You know, I'm the president one day at a time, but why is it, and I know you partner with us. You answer every call for us and everything, but why is it important for y'all to partner, meaning the police department to partner with small community organizations or big community organizations?
Real simple answer. We ain't never gonna do it by ourselves. And if you're not working in conjunction with one another, you are already setting yourself up for failure.
Wow.
Because at the end of the day, let's be honest, Brother Mel, you are gonna be able to reach people that I can't reach.
Okay.
You know, there may even be people who want to give me the benefit of the doubt, but it's just something in them they can't.
Right,
Maybe
right,
it's because
right.
of this.
Right, right.
Maybe it's because they just don't know me.
Yeah.
You know, and they basing stuff on what they heard. But now I need to use you to leverage that
That's
kind
it.
of connection to say, look,
That's it.
everybody that wears a uniform is not about doing you harm.
I know I'm from the hood, I'm from the neighborhood, and we have a lot of great folks in the neighborhood. Great folks, great neighbors, great moms, great block captains, but we know the small 2% in the community who rave havoc can make the whole North Philadelphia look bad.
Right.
And that's not who we truly are. Do you ever go through that in the department, as far as maybe an officer who may be the small percentage of that try to make the whole family? You know, every family kind of has a black sheep.
Right.
You know, so how do you deal with that, or do you have that in the department?
Well,
What do
we
you think?
absolutely have it. I mean, and every police department has it, and any police department that thinks they don't have that kind of number or percentage of folks who don't represent you well because of their actions, they're crazy.
Okay.
There are clearly people who even other police officers look at and wonder how or why they're still in their ranks.
Right.
And so what we struggle to do is make people understand that this is not what we're about.
I got you.
And that, you know, while it's easy to stereotype and throw everybody in the same melting pot, look, we don't want anybody to do that to the residents of North Philly or West
I got
Philly,
you.
South Philly, right,
got
to
you.
say because of X, Y, Z, but somehow some people, because of your previous question about, you know, people and their feelings about police,
Yeah.
we feel comfortable doing that. You know, even when you say subtle things like, well, not all police are bad.
Okay.
Well, think about the nuance of that.
Come on.
You
Come on.
know, well,
Come on.
yeah, not
yeah.
all people from
Yeah.
North Philly are bad. So what
Yeah.
you really saying when you say that?
Right.
You know, I mean, you got to be careful with your words. And I just think that, you know, you can't possibly believe that in the fourth largest department in the country, 6,500 sworn officers, that most come to work with the sole purpose
Right.
of doing somebody harm.
Gotcha.
It does statistically, it don't even make sense.
Right.
Are there people that don't represent well? Believe it or not, for me, it's not that I don't worry about, you know, the national incidents that have brought shame and embarrassment to the profession. Absolutely. You know, and some of them have been egregious, and some people might be surprised, they shouldn't, that people in law enforcement are equally offended by it.
Wow.
But
wow.
you know, one of the things I worry about most, or equally, even with my department, it's not just shootings, it's how people treat people
How we treat each other.
and how cops treat people. Sometimes the biggest complaint I get is, you know, why the officer have to talk to me like that?
Wow. So
So
respect.
that's not respect. That's not even about whether somebody took somebody's life
Yeah.
or took their liberty or arrested them.
Yeah.
That's just a simple decency thing.
Gotcha.
You know, how you treat people. And that is a little thing that I would submit to you we can control. If I'm coming at you sideways over something very simple,
Right.
to that individual, it's like, wait a minute.
Wow.
All you police officers like this? And it's sometimes it's hard for folks to separate that, well, that can't possibly be the case. No
Okay.
different than if you went into a restaurant and got bad service.
That's it.
You ain't gonna think everybody in that service or that
Right.
restaurant gonna be like that. But
Wow.
sometimes in this profession,
Okay.
people get hit with that stroke. And if you're unwilling to recognize your own flaws
Right.
and your faults, well, then your organization doesn't stand a chance.
Wow.
You know, it's nowhere
That's
in
true.
the world,
That's true.
especially you being a spiritual man, that you think that you're going to walk around, you know, and you don't have any faults.
Oh, no,
you know,
we all got
when
that.
all
We
that,
all got that.
them people, I want to say
Yeah.
to people all the time, you know, that got a lot of criticism about this. I look over top their head. I don't never see
Yeah.
the halo. But,
Yeah,
I mean,
got
so
you.
it might, you
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
looking
yeah,
for it,
yeah,
but they're
yeah,
looking for us
yeah,
to have them all the
yeah,
time.
Yeah, the Bible
So
talks about without the stone, you know, I'd be first to cast the
there
stone.
you go.
know?
Now
So
take that plank
none
out
us
of your
can-
eye
yeah,
first, right?
That's it. Take
You
the
know?
plank out of your eye. That's my
right.
thing right there. So, you know, as in the department, the black community, what I'm hearing you saying is that we both got a cleanup job to do.
It's no question about it. And look, this is not to suggest. Sometimes police officers hear you say that and they think that you're indicting the whole police department. Of course
Come on,
not.
come on.
You know, and any more than, you know, like you talk, I would submit to you it's probably less than 2%.
Come on,
You know,
that's
I
it.
mean,
Yeah,
so
I believe
it's
that.
not an indictment of any particular neighborhood either. It just means that sometimes you got to call it for what it is.
Yeah.
You know, from whatever your personal dealings are, just like my barber who is a returning citizen, you know, 30 years
Yeah, I
ago,
got you, I got
he
you.
told me straight up. He says, look, he said, I did time in Graterford. He said, this jokers up there still belong there.
Wow.
He said, because
Yeah.
if they come out,
Yeah.
I know what they're going to. Now,
gotta
that's
keep it
from
real.
a cat that was in there.
Yeah, yeah.
He ain't talking about most of them.
Right.
He's talking about this
That one guy.
percentage.
Yeah.
But when you can't even admit that, just like
Wow.
if we can't admit we got police officers that really don't belong on this job.
Right, right.
I mean, that's just keeping
Wow,
it real. And,
wow.
and when you can't look in those mirrors, we can't move the needle. And
Wow.
that's part of the problem.
Wow, wow. I like the conversation that we're having because we're starting off is admitting that we all have issues.
I'm a big believer in that. And if it don't start with you, then
Right.
it's never going to get
Because a
moved.
lot of people criticize, you know, the department say they never admit what they're doing. And all I'm hearing you doing this whole conversation is admitting that we got to get better, we got to get stronger.
We gotta
But
get
we need
better.
the community to get stronger. And then, you know, also you're a man in yourself.
You got to move it together. And so if it's just a blame game, we can do
Thank
that
you.
all day. I essentially serve 3 masters
Come on.
every day. I got the rank and file, who, while I'm the boss, I'm also serving them,
Okay.
the community,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And elected officials.
Yeah, that's true.
So you look at like a bar stool with 3 legs, right?
Yeah.
You know, those are the 3 legs that I have to deal with every day. And on any given day, you can rest assured one of them is probably not happy with something the police department did.
Wow.
So this is not a woe is me conversation.
Yeah, I
don't
know
do
that. I know
don't
that.
do
Yeah, I know that.
The mayor has said to me multiple times that this is the hardest job in city government.
Man.
Because the world, you can't exist in a circle this big and make everybody happy.
Right.
You can imagine in this world, somebody, and especially in this climate,
Right.
is always pissed off at you. Somebody asked me today in a text, they said, you know, one thing after another, how do you even do it? And I said
that's what
that,
I'm
you know,
concerned about.
for me, it's just reminding myself of the mission that I believe in.
Right.
I believe in this city. I believe in the people who are in it. I believe in our need to save these young folks
That's it.
from a lot of different things that, you know, for a lot of them is beyond their control, and some who can control what they can control
That's
to make
it.
them understand that.
That's it.
But I believe in what we do. I've had the editorial board of the Inquirer ask me, you know, some folks, well, what keeps you up at night? I get asked that question a lot. The number one thing is these young men killing each other in the street and shoot each other. That is the number one thing. There are a lot of things that keep me up, but that is the absolute
right.
number one thing. It breaks my heart.
Right.
It always has. It always will. And, you know, I just wonder when a day will come
Right.
when we will have enough value for each other's lives. Look, some people want to attack me. Oh, well, you don't
Yeah, yeah.
understand history. You don't
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
racism.
Yeah.
I do understand all
Right,
that.
right.
And I'm not dismissing any of it. And I am saying very
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
clearly, all of that is very real.
Yeah,
And all of
very
that
important.
has no doubt lent itself to a lot of the issues that we have.
Exactly.
But I am saying that I don't have the luxury of staying in that space and just talking about it.
No, you can't. No, you got to do
I've got to do
Yeah.
something
You
in
gotta do something right
addition
away.
to the acknowledgement of it. I've got to do something with it because I'm dealing with the bodies dropping day in and day out and day in and day out. And so that, and if it were a second thing that concerns me, is the status of police community relations in the city, particularly relationships with communities of color. That is the number 2 thing, and then they could be 1 and 2, whatever
Right.
way you want to flip it.
Right.
But those are the things that probably are persistently on my list. They never go away. You're always trying to find something new and some different way to basically make both of them better.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
And,
When I'm learning more, listening to you, I would never want your job. I would never want your job. I'm listening to you, and I feel your pain with it because we do work for drug and alcohol individuals, good individuals. My father was a recovering addict, and I could not imagine, and we deal with overdoses on a regular basis, right? We had a lot of people that overdosed last year in the city of Philadelphia, and I felt the pain for the parents. And so sitting here with you, I feel the pain, even for you. Sounds like you're a parent to those who may not even know that you care.
Me and my aide do a lot of neighborhood walks.
Yeah.
We go all over the city. Typically what we do is we go to areas where there was just a shooting. We go to the area where there was a shooting. We go then to the area where we think retaliation is likely to happen. We walk. We don't drive.
So I want to make sure we highlight that. So if you find out it's a shooting going on, one guy had a rep on another corner, he kills the other guy, whatever, you personally go out and walk that strip.
I personally go out and walk that strip where it happened, and then if we know where the actual retaliation is likely to be, that's where I go. And so I did that about a week ago in a particular area, and and I don't want to highlight no particular area, but
right.
And so I went to the one area. It was only a handful of guys. This is where the shooting had happened. It was a double shooting, and then I go to where I think the retaliation. And what was disheartening to me was there were no less than 20, 25 guys repping their particular gang openly.
Wow. In front of you.
In front of me.
Take away from this interview when we talk about respect. If you want respect, you got to also give it. Yeah. So if you out there trying to rep your set, rep your corner, especially if the commissioner or anybody that's in blue coming around, show them respect and stop complaining about if they're not showing you respect if you're not showing them the respect.
It was disheartening because that didn't even really try to keep it moving. You understand what I'm saying? So it got so bad that at one point, me and my aide just stood right in the middle of them. And it wasn't until then that they start walking away.
Did they speak to you anything? Or?
Well, we made most of them speak.
Okay.
But there was one that I didn't hear, but my aide told me, he said, yo, let's come over here. And I didn't know why he wanted to walk where he walked. And he said, yo, you see the boy with the flip-flops? I said, what about him? He just over here telling his boy, neither one of them would stand a chance. Like me and him wouldn't stand a chance if they decided
to hurt you.
So, but think about how deep that is.
Hold on.
No, I'm not making this up.
So you basically, they could tell you don't stand a chance right there. They on the street telling you won't stand a chance against them in survival, basically.
Right.
And I think you get to a point where you being tough, and then it's a point of being stupid.
At the end of the day, it's like you're not using your head. And look, we always know, usually the guy doing this is probably the guy who got the least to come with anything. But anyway, just the mere fact that you got that mindset. You do these things and you try to make a connection. You try to get out there and show people, one, so why am I doing this? Be honest with you, I'm doing it for a couple of reasons. One, you want to show the people in those neighborhoods that, you're not forgetting about them. It breaks your heart when you get people grabbing you. For example, in another part of the city, when we had the double homicide, in front of the store. Yeah. And you got people the next day when you out there walking, chasing you down the block saying, can you give us some help? And it breaks your heart to know that people are living like that. And then people are saying, man, it was never like this before.
Wow.
But of the, 25, 30 walks that I've done so far, I've only had 2 incidents, and that was one, and the other one was over in the same area where one young boy just flat out told us, get the F off my block.
What I'm finding out now is, we deal with the streets, we do street outreach, and I'll run into hustlers, or they call them trappers or whatever, and guys, we show each other respect, but I find out even in their midst that they have a knucklehead. And they're saying, look, listen, Miss May gets pulled up her car, get her groceries out the trunk, instead of still sitting in front of their house smoking weed or being so forth like that. So a lot of times people just being on the strips, they even say that, man, you plain old stupid. You in the way, as they may say. You got some people trying to do some stuff, and you got people that's in the way.
Exactly.
That lined me up for my last and final question for you about the gun violence. The gun violence. And I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer for this, but why you think it's so bad in our community? And then when I say our community, I'm talking about abroad, Chicago, Detroit.
Well, coming back full circle, I think, I do believe there's no denying the historical perspectives and the things that have happened.
Okay.
You know, so for those who would wonder, does the brother have even sense enough to know that? Of course I do. As I said before, you gotta provide a space for people to have hope, to believe that I can do something. I can do something more than what I'm doing.
Okay.
And I don't care
Okay.
if I'm in a space where, you know, I never got a chance to see, you know, my dad get up and go to work. I never got a chance to see my brother or whoever, you know, but I know that's real.
Okay.
And I know if they can do this, I can do it too. Guess what happens when these brothers get shot, even if they survive? Somebody's footing that bill.
Yeah,
It's
that's
probably you.
Wow.
And you.
That's true.
And you. And
That's true.
so
That's true.
my point is, it affects all of us, maybe
does.
in a
It
little
does.
different way.
It
And
does.
if you think
Yeah.
you sitting up on a hill
Yeah.
and that don't concern me,
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
going to concern you in your taxes.
That's true.
And all the stuff that you do is going to concern you and how comfortable you feel, you know, traversing the city.
Right.
It's going to concern you when big companies don't want to come and grow here. It's
Yeah.
going to concern you just in general if you got, you know, a young, particularly black male child growing up as I do. I have two children, one's an adult and one's not. You know, you'd be naive to say, well, wow, you know, the way sometimes things just jumps off like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just something as simple as you being in the wrong place in the wrong time. You had nothing to do with it.
Happens a lot.
Nothing to do with
Yeah,
it.
happens
You
a
know,
lot.
or somebody could feel you looked at them the wrong way.
Right.
And now, you know, you got something that was nothing. Now somebody's either in a hospital or in a graveyard.
Wow.
Somebody else might be going to prison. You know, all these lives that are impacted like this, it can be better. I say this all the time. When the news grabs me in my parking spot, the reality of it is although we got a lot of issues in the United States of America, to me, it's still the greatest country on earth.
Come on.
I'm not trying to go nowhere else.
Got you. I
You
got
know?
you.
But I do believe we can do more.
can
There's
do
an
more.
we can do better,
do
we
more.
can do more, and that if the will is there
Right.
for guns
Right.
and all these other issues that we deal with, discrimination, racism, we can make it better if the will is there to make it better. And I say that we all have a responsibility to
Wow.
do that.
Wow. So you say as a body, as they talk about in the Bible, you know, it's the body of Christ. You know, the
Exactly.
foot, the hand, the head, all of us. There's no competition. It's no competition. So out of this interview we're asking for today is for you to join the force, meaning join the movement. Do what you do best. You know, the commissioner do what he do best, and one day at a time do what they do best. But it's not a competition. We need everybody to join in. And I just want to thank the commissioner for having us up here today and keeping it real, as we say, for the community. And please, let's go ahead out, man, and let's support, say prayers. This man has a stressful job, but let's say prayers for our community. Whether you black, white, Hispanic, whatever, we show in love one day at a time. Thank you.